Oh, Michelle, I am so excited to welcome you to the Wishbeads podcast. Thank you for saying yes.
Of course, it's a pleasure to be here with you, lady.
You know, I can't remember what year it was when I went to my first XX Project event, but I can tell you the first moment that I felt the presence of the people that you had gathered, and it was at a lovely hotel in Hollywood or West Hollywood, I think. And it was just wow. And also, what I also loved was the energy of the women that were there. There were some men, but mostly women, was this idea of excitement to connect with one another. You know, not that place where you're holding a cocktail and you're just kind of feeling like you're being judged. It was actually the opposite. It was an energy of connection. So before we get any further, can you tell me a little bit and tell everybody watching and listening what the XX Project is?
Yes, the XX Project is a membership community bringing leading women in business together to empower one another, both personally and professionally. So I want this to be a serious, place where women can come and share and find their potential business partners, collaborators, and be a place where they can get all their needs fulfilled and share and be vulnerable and leave with, a new business idea, a new business partner, or a real friend that really could be part of your inner tribe and support system. So we feature monthly, C-suite female founders like Alexa, who's done several Wishbeads events, because a lot of women really enjoy the intention and love that she does and her amazing entrepreneurship and story in creating Wishbeads. But we love featuring amazing women who have great stories to share and, how to break the glass ceiling, how to, get comfortable to ask for what you're worth professionally, or how to have it all personally and professionally, and the sacrifices that are made along the way. So I'm excited to always share the best in class business leaders and intel, and be that place where you feel really your soul is enriched and your brain is ready to, conquer whatever it is that you're trying to, climb the ladder to the next level in your career and your journey in life.
Amazing. It's amazing. And I also want to preface this, or I want to ask you, what actually inspired you to create this community? Because I knew at the time you had very, very intense job. And what was that moment when you said, okay, I'm going to put something out there, something, that's going to help other women? What was that why for you?
Yeah, the why was, I was a journalist for the first half of my career, and I transferred into the music business. And I felt like there wasn't a place where I could go regularly and find, other women to really share and help one another. Because I'm a firm believer, if you, can share and build together, then you can build even bigger and better, quicker, and have that real camaraderie together, womanhood, and ask the questions you need asked in business and in life. And, I'd always try and go to these different summits, and I loved communities like Summit Series. And I said, how can I create this salon experience and behind closed doors in cities where, women really need this, busy cities, and really not just being one specific industry, but all industries, welcoming all the best in class business women. And when I saw that there wasn't anything like that, I said, I think I should start it. And we started off with these intimate dinners. Our first one was with Soledad O'Brien. I actually saw her speak at an amazing conference called Ad Color that Tiffany Warren started, and Tiffany had me that year speak on her summit, and I heard Soledad speak, and I said, that's the woman. She embodies XX. So I approached her afterwards. I said, I have this concept. You're the woman. What she represents as a businesswoman, a mother, a philanthropist, the amazing career she's had. And she said yes. And it was such a pleasure, because she really embodied that woman. And I had to moderate her, which was really nerve-wracking. I said, I don't know how to do that, but I was brave enough. And that was a really special evening in New York in Soho House over 10 years ago. And from there, we had Pat Mitchell, who I've looked up to for many years, Beth Comstock, Eve, and we've had an incredible network of women, that has grown, and a lot of people really trust this community and trust the curation, because I give a lot of attention to my members and what they're looking to accomplish. And I'm kind of like the secret matchmaker in business behind the scenes with my women. And the most important thing is long lasting friendships, and it's the gift that keeps on giving. So it's a place where you can create opportunity, get stimulated, and it's the give and get and the cyclical nature of that gift.
Michelle, I love all of this. I've also been the massive recipient of your connections and the space that you've created. I have created friendships. I am working with one of your members in 2 days doing a collaboration together.
I love
And,
that.
it just keeps going and you embody that. But I also want to highlight that, for people listening, especially in that world of wishing, you have a desire, and that maybe comes from a need, a place where you feel like something that you just want in your own life, but the agency to say, you know what, I'm looking for it. I'm going to create it. I'm going to take action. That's what I love that you embody, that you can go up to somebody that you admire and say, look, I'm going to be transparent here. This is like in its beginning phases, but will you say yes to me? It's so powerful. And here you are a decade later, and all these events and all these members and all these ways that we get to participate with you and your community. It started with that one moment where you're like, I am going to say yes to this, to myself and my vision. And literally that embodies Wishbeads. Like that is the trick of it, that there's no person that's going to wave a magic wand and give it to you. You have to create it. It begins with your desire. So naming that desire and taking action, that's everything. That is absolutely everything. So thank you. Thank you. And especially if you are in the Los Angeles area, there's going to be links to learn more about the XX project, although you do events in New York.
Yes.
So anyway, if you're interested, it doesn't matter where you are, just find out about it. Find out about it. Now, I'm catching you now that you are in a very different chapter of your career. You're still very much involved in doing an amazing job with XX, but the last time we connected, I was literally blown away by a newfound passion that you have about running. Can you tell me a little bit about what happened? What was a new sort of seed of desire that came about, and the unbelievable action that you've taken since?
I think with COVID, we've all had to find the silver lining and kind of recalibrate and reassess and revisit and sit with ourselves. So, and slow down in one respect or another. We've all had to adjust our lifestyles significantly and recalibrate and think. And I, at the time, had some personal, tragedies and really difficult situations that I had to heal from. And I just lost a parent. And I also had some big decisions to make on my home front with my partner. And during COVID, I came back a week later. We were all working from home, and life had changed for us all that first week in March. And I remember a dear friend and a client of mine at the time, Bozoma St. John. I remember when she started her wellness journey and really made the commitment to herself, and her sharing that story with me really struck a chord. And I never felt so at an all-time low, just energetically in my life. I felt like my light had dimmed. And I said, well, what can I do during this time? And, when I came back after losing my stepfather, I signed up for that trainer that she worked with. And I saw the magic he had done. And I started training, I think it was 4 or 5 sessions, and then COVID shut us down. So I said, instead of driving to work, I'm going to take that time to and from work as if I was driving for myself. And I started just walking. I started walking around Westwood every single day. And, hour in the morning, hour in the evening, after work, it would set my days. And I wanted to create that structure to be still efficient, effective, and taking care of myself, because you didn't have anywhere else to go. And that was my time to get clear, to get intentional, to think about what I want out of life. And it was also a very difficult time as I was processing a lot of transitions and changes and digesting what I'd just gone through. And it was through that walking, which turned into, after 2 weeks running, and then the trainer Jerry said, we have a Nike run challenge, download the app and let's do it for the month of April, 50 miles, who's going to win? I was like, 50 miles, is he nuts? Like, I'm not going to be able to run 50 miles. He's like, Michelle, you're already doing it, and like, why not just like calculate it? And of course, the competitive nature of doing it, I was like, okay, if I could do 50, he's like, it's like 1 mile a day at least. And so I was like, let's see how long it'll take me to knock this thing out. And like within like 10 days, I got the whole thing done. And then I was like, well, I'm not going to stop here. And so I just kept on going. And so really taking that time to commit to myself and to process what I'd just gone through was a really special time. And within 3 months, I lost 30 pounds. And from that, new opportunities knocked on my door, and I started thinking about, my sort of career evolution and what I wanted to do as a business leader. And I realized that, I've always been hungry as a student and wanting more educational skills. And I heard about this wonderful program at UCLA, a master's in legal studies program. And I said, why not enroll? And I have nothing to lose. I have more time. I was going through a marriage, and I said, why not invest in myself and better myself as a businesswoman? And that's what I did. And that application, once I submitted that, 2 weeks later, I found myself on that UCLA track, which was down the street. I'd walk there, then I'd run. And I thought to myself, what would it feel like to run on that track? And that track really changed my life, because I just started having a whole new purpose. And I started walking on that track, running on that track, 8 ways one way, 8 ways the other, every morning, same thing. And then I found myself like 2 hours a day on that track. And then after, a short period of showing up every day at 6 a.m., even on the weekends, my coach, who I've been watching out of the corner of my eye, said, well, he stopped me, said, what are you training for? And I looked at him, I'm like, I don't know. He said, well, wrong answer, life. You want to start training? And I was watching him as he was working on technique. And I felt like I had hit sort of a athletic sort of stunt. Like I didn't know where to go from there. I was just like clocking miles. And I was just admiring how he was working on form and technique and with all the athletes. And that was the day, that was June 4th, and it changed my life forever. And on that track, I was also thinking, what would it feel like if I ran on this track? And I came alive. And would I feel like an athlete? Would I be a student? Would this be my campus? And it all ended up happening. And I didn't have any master plan. But I had a great coach who saw something in me, who prioritized sort of sharing his knowledge and resources and everything that he had to, shed and share with me, which I'm forever grateful, because every step I got stronger. And after 2 weeks, he thought I should compete. And a month later, I competed in Long Beach, and I just completed my 8th race last weekend at the USATF Masters National Championships, and I placed 6th in the nation. So I'm proud to say I made my All-American time. I've become a 2-time All-American now, sprinter in the 60 meters and 100 meters in my age bracket, and excited to explore this further. We've already made plans for indoor Masters Championships in New York next March, and then Finland internationally next July. So we're working towards those goals.
Okay. Like that's a lot. And I want to acknowledge that
I never did sports before this. I was a trained concert pianist. I never, so this is all new. So coach always says, you're like a Mercedes who was just sitting in the garage all this time. So I felt, very flattered that he saw that, because he also told me I looked like Forrest Gump when I was running, because my technique was so off and he had to teach me how to run. But I had an innocence and naivete where like it didn't bother me what I looked like. I didn't care. It just made me feel good, and it made me get stronger every step. And that's why I call it was my run for my life. It was my run for life, because I was running for that life force within me, and just so I could feel better and alive again.
There's so many things that I love about your story that I don't even quite know where to begin, but I do have that Dolly Parton riff in my hand where you just pour yourself a cup of ambition. And I love it so much, because it's not just ambition. I think an ambitious spirit, like a hungry spirit, is that energy that keeps you learning. It keeps you getting curious. It's that thing that got you on the track before you even understood what it was. Mm-hmm. It's just it's a hungry energy. And I want to celebrate that. Because so often, especially in women, it's like, oh, settle down. Like, ooh, that's too much, But what I love about you is that you're there. You are there, and you are you're aligning it. Let's put it that way. You're aligning it with your light. And so
Mhm.
you started off by saying, I was aware that my light had been dimmed. So
Mhm.
because of that ambition and curiosity, and just kind of like, come on, let's get back online here.
Mhm.
You got curious and you started to again, using the structure that you had in place for the day. I had never heard anybody say that, because they lost their commute, what was I going to do with that time?
Mhm.
And that is such a powerful decision right there, because suddenly you allocated that 2 hours,
Mhm.
there and back. And then you met yourself right where you were. For example, walking instead of running in that moment was genius, because that's what you could do in that time. And sometimes when people like, well, I just want to be a runner, and they have a concept of it and they don't realize that there's a buildup to it. Um, it's just astonishing. And then, like, wait a minute, June 4th of what year? 2020?
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Mhm.
I mean, and you're talking about, competing in Finland and two-time All-American, champion. It's bravo, my friend.
Well,
Bravo.
it doesn't come without sacrifice, and
That's right.
I had a really good support system, some really good friends, my dear friend Nick, who's a mentor to me, Chavez, Lavinia Erico, who was a real inspiration, who pushed me when I didn't think I even had it in me to push myself to apply for law school, and Coach, who just invested in me and took me to a whole new level in my athletic ability, and my parents, my mother and father, who, just instilled. I really credit them, because they always instilled in me, like, there's nothing I can't do, but you have to work and do it day in and day out. And it's that investment that an opportunity they gave me as a young child. I trained as a concert pianist, so I knew what it was like to train 5 hours a day. And I went to
Wow.
college to be a concert pianist. So I said, if I take that discipline and apply it to this, what could I do? And so I kind of had that blueprint, but I wasn't looking to compete. I didn't have a blueprint of a master transformation. Like, it wasn't like I wanted, a six pack or something. Like, I just literally was trying to lift my head up. And every
Wow.
night there would be nights where I just prayed to, have peace and to wake up in the morning. And I had really good playlists on Spotify that got me going. Nike Run app was my best friend. I still clock all my miles. I think I'm about to beat 2000 shortly.
Wow.
It's that commitment. For the first time, I said, I'm committing to me. And I don't know where this is going to lead me, but it became a hobby that became, it changed everything from the way I sleep to how I eat, to how I dress, to how I conduct my life. And it was real sacrifice too, because I train, I work, I go to law school in the evenings. I mean, it's a next level of just your own personal growth. But I feel very fortunate that the world shut down, and it's sometimes unfortunate that we have to have that aha wake up moment. Why
Mm.
not take that moment? But like, we all have to think about, what do we do with our time? And that's really the genesis of it all.
Yeah. It's really impressive, Michelle. I mean, and I think it's an amazing example, because I think in the world of manifestation, there
Mhm.
can be a false notion that it really is about wishing and sitting back and waiting. And
Mhm.
it's not about waiting, it's about working. It's about seeing it, or seeing something. You don't have to see it, like the blueprint or a plan, or some sort of like set strategy, but you have to see the inkling, and it has to be enticing enough to make you get off the couch and turn off Netflix and do something.
Mhm.
And how do you think, I mean, now I'm sure, seeing your life now, feeling yourself now, and seeing the world with today's eyes, what would you say is like one thing that you will never go back to? You know what I mean? Like one perspective that really has shifted you forever.
There are so many. It's hard to just say one thing. It's the whole way I live my life, and the rhythm of my life. And I think for the first time, I was really clear with set boundaries, because to accomplish what I'm doing, and to make the sacrifices, and to get a day's work of full work in the business that I'm in the entertainment business, and then go to law school and have the energy to endure 3-4 hours of class, and then to be able to then be rested in order to complete all my schoolwork and the reading required on the weekend. it adjusts your life. Like I don't get to do certain things. Like I have to create real discipline and timing and be really smart with my timing and intentional. And coach always says, you have a plate and there's only so much food you can put on your plate. Because if you put so much on, then you can't see what on it. You're just layering it and it's like falling off. So, being really pragmatic and have a strategy in how you're going to complete that. But, it's one of the most rewarding things when you find those right, the right slices of everything and have that, because I can honestly say I've never felt this powerful and this strong in my body. And I feel like your external is only a reflection of internal. And so I've done a lot of inner work, and I wish I would have known to do this work. Why did it take 38 years in order to get here? But, it's never too late to, figure out the best way to recalibrate and live your happiest, best life. And I think like it makes me a better, executive in what I'm looking to accomplish. It makes me a better, business leader, a daughter, a friend, but really being really, more compassionate with myself as well as with others, with, the sacrifices you need to make along the journey in order to achieve those things.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I obviously you're someone who has big visions and you're someone who takes the actions to make them happen. Can you share a little bit about what you're imagining and what your big wish is as you take all of this beautiful energy and bring it forth into the world? What are some of the fun things that you're seeing for yourself so we can cheer you on?
Yeah, I've always had a passion in marketing and branding, and building long-lasting businesses that can imprint and have a long-lasting effect on culture. So aligning myself with those brands that have rich heritage and history and are doing good and have powerful global messages that, help shape culture, community, and helping people live healthier, better lives through, different faces, and whether talent, whether an athlete or musician. So I'm excited to bridge those gaps of social impact, diversity, inclusion, and marketing and talent, and, see how I can best contribute now in new industries. This passion for the sports world has become, something that I really am excited to see how I could take my marketing expertise and, having worked with, some of the, biggest names in music to the up and coming names, and to bridge that sort of, passion of mine with the world of sport is super exciting. It was actually quite moving when I saw the other week, just literally on Friday, the commercial for Beats with Sha'Carri and Kanye West in those tracks. Like I was at the track that morning when they'd been filming all evening, and I was like, what are they filming here? And I got a little birdie told me something, and it like that was, a really moving song, because like having faith and believing in God, and to see sort of my worlds collide of this newfound passion of track, in which Sha'Carri represents as a woman, and having just lost her mother and sharing that same connection with Kanye, it was a Donda about the loss of the mother, both of them. And I thought that was really, it sort of hit a chord in me. And, looking at some of these women who are, blazing the track, Allison Felix and Gabby Thomas and, Cindy McLaughlin, and the Olympics happening at the same time. I just feel grateful to have found this new, these new fresh eyes to watch and cheer these ladies on. And, Gabby Thomas having come from Harvard, and what that is going to open up, for young, athletes. And, it's an exciting time in the world of sports. So I hope to really contribute and in my career evolution, and just, help the next generation come up. So I'm all about giving and community. And I am excited to also launch One Love Track Club with my coach, and him leaving his legacy on, the track space, and what he wants to do with helping empower athletes is, super exciting to me as well, because it's, that's what, if we can turn one person on to a healthier, better life, then you change a life. And that's what, we all hope to do while we're here.
Yeah. It's phenomenal. I also know that you have had a long history with the charitable work that you do. Do you want to talk a little bit about the music work that you've been doing specifically in Compton?
Yes. I started Music Unites, a nonprofit, gosh, I think 15 years now ago, to empower youth through music and provide, top-notch after-school music programs and take them along these music versity journeys. And very excited. We have a program right now with TBWA Chiat, one of the, renowned ad agencies, and our kids have been working for the past, several weeks. It's a month and a half program. This Friday is our grand finale, but, allowing them to really understand the world of advertising and work with some of their best in class leaders and, music licensing. How does that fit into? We've had some executives from Netflix and Epic Records come speak to the students. So just opening up their eyes to show them the different careers and opportunities there are out there. So those are once in a lifetime, opportunities to turn them on to a mentor, to hopefully inspire a child's journey. And I am excited to, do that for XX Project too. We launched XX Gives Back, and we had female footballer Santia Deck speak to 75 young girls in Compton. So I have a very special relationship with the Compton Unified School District and their superintendent Brawley, who they just embrace all that we bring to their community. But, I just hope to continue doing that work, because we all want to give back. Everyone's really thoughtful and want to make a difference, because we all know how precious life is and nothing is guaranteed. So I feel very grateful. I have several kids who are now on their journeys too, as artists, as executives, and that I've personally mentored. And I'm very proud to see them grow up and to be their best version of themselves, and to continue with inspiring others.
Oh, it's remarkable. I just love the work that you do. And I'm obviously so excited. Hopefully we can do some more work together in terms of supporting those nonprofits and get some Wishbeads and a Wishbeads experience into those schools. And we'll talk about that later after the podcast.
And I need some new Wishbeads to set my new manifestations.
Oh, yes, you do. Yes, you do.
The wonderful books that you have in the journaling. Like, I was always too busy, I was busy running, racing, just in life. And, could just barely get to my pillow before I crashed. And, so much of my currents when I train and the mental, what I need to prep for. Luckily I'm living by myself because it looks like Beautiful Mind right before a race. My coach has amazing sayings and quotes, and it's not the age and it's the stage, and all these beautiful things that I literally, post on my wall, and Post-its and everything, and journaling. And I write the times, 14.7 was what I needed to break for my All-American status in the 100. And I got 14.34. And I was just writing that why. And so I'm ready for my next Wishbeads, because I'm ready to sort of go through that process. And now with sort of this like exciting chapter that, every race for me has a story. The 60 meters All-American, I was running in honor of my stepfather because it was right that same week since his passing. And this race really honored the commitment I made to myself and living the best version of myself. And so I was running for my life, to celebrate my life. And that's what my stepfather's last words were. Will you move on with your life? And I realized this race resembled me finally stepping into my true power. Like, I changed everything from my eating to my diet to my vitamins. Thank you, Vital Proteins and the Vital Performance powders. Like, I lived on them beforehand. Athletic Greens. I've still, like, all these things have now become essential in the way I live my life. But so much of that writing and intention is not just writing 14.6 and just like hoping that it happens, or 14.7, but, really taking yourself and the power of that writing and journaling and why you want something is so instrumental. And then living with it. Like, I always live with the word. I race with the word. And I had my stepfather's daughter gave me one word that said breathe. And I always run with that bracelet. And, this was the first time I ran with One Love, because that's what I was running in honor of my coach and the One Love track manifestation. So I'm excited for my next word, so I can really think what that is in this sort of next chapter of accomplishing these goals. And I'm putting my track shoes, I'm framing them. They're the first two that got me within 6 months All-American. So now with my little ribbon that I got. So I'm excited to see what's next and to sort of clear the space and create that space to like create what is next in life.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited that we are going to be leading a virtual wish circle together later on this month on Thursday. I should have checked the date. I think it's the 26th of August.
Mhm.
And certainly welcoming the XX community that I absolutely adore, but anyone is welcome to join us. And I would love for people to, to hear you, to hear your story, but also just create that space to open up people to just get a little bit curious about what the inner part of their being is longing to create.
Mhm.
And again, going back to this idea that you don't necessarily have to have the whole plan in place. It's really just seeing a moment and then leaning in with some curiosity, allowing those specifics to emerge in your mind's eye, and then writing them down. And then having that visual reminder plus the wish work, it does set the wheel in motion to give you the energy so that you can take whatever action steps you need to take to make it happen.
Yeah, and
And
I'd like to share.
you're such an amazing example of that.
I'd love to share, my coach said, because it literally marked the 1 year since my first competition this past weekend. And he said, would you have imagined a year ago when you did that first race? And I remember, when he told me what I needed to race in those little Nike shorts. And I said, I didn't even have a pair of those. I was rocking my Lululemons. And I was like, can I race in these? He's like, you probably want to get, so I had to change my gear, and I went to Nike, and I ended up, buying half the store that first time I got my jacket and all these different fun pieces, and I was styling myself, but like, I couldn't have even imagined that like a year later, just by doing this, I mean, taking it seriously, making a lot of sacrifice, and to see this thing through. I mean, in a year, we were able to, from never competing to going, to never being an athlete to going to the national championships. So I feel like that's such a wonderful testament. And coach said, dream big, like you don't know. And like sometimes the innocence and the beauty in following that, if it makes you come alive, if it makes you excited again, then just keep going, and I'm watching the Olympics with my mom. My parents are watching it now. We've all connected in a different level too. My mom was the one who, like, when I was training and she found heard the Shikari news, she's like, Michelle, did you hear what happened? And so it brings together family, and it gives you something else to connect on and share that excitement, because it's contagious. And I think like it's so exciting now to watch the Olympics with this new set of eyes and understanding, and a new hobby. And it just brings a whole nother layer and meaning in your life and evolution. So don't be scared to what you look like, or if you don't know anything. I didn't know anything. This is my second race coming out of the blocks. I was scared of the blocks, so it's just exciting to see what's possible when you embrace something and just stick with it, even during the thick and thin, and when it's hard and you can't get up and don't want to get up, but you just keep going. That's the magic. That's where it happens.
Absolutely. And let me tell you, you started off by saying, acknowledging that your light felt dim. My friend, you are radiating light now. You got your light all shining. so exactly, using your model for inspiration. I'm telling you, it's really, the magic is saying permission, yes, and taking action and doing the thing you've always wanted to do. And you are a magnificent, shining example of that, Michelle.
Thank
So
you.
happy to know you. So thankful for all the gifts you brought into my life. And I am so excited to cheer you on, literally cheer you on every step of the way. And I hope to be at one of those tournaments so I can see you in action. It would be absolutely an honor.
We'll sign you up too for the One Love Masters track race too, because we want to welcome all kids, all adults, family affair, just have it be a new family experience for, kids to get to see their mothers and parents. And that's what was so beautiful this weekend, to just watch the legacy, watching women in their late 80s racing, and
that's awesome.
These are my idols, like multi, champions of the USATF Masters. And it was just such a beautiful thing to see these people come together, just looking to live there, and just seeing where are you at, in terms of your athletic evolution, and still competing at that age. So I hope that that's what I will be doing one day.
Absolutely. I have no doubt. I actually have no doubt. If you tell me anything that you're going to be doing, I have no doubt that I'm going to see that happen. Yes, absolutely. Michelle, you are phenomenal. For anyone listening, I hope you'll join us for the Wish Circle. Stay connected to the XX Project. Follow Michelle's journey. She is one to watch. Thank you for being on the podcast. It's been so awesome talking to you.
Thank you for having me.